This episode of Flowstate is proudly supported by Abbott Paint and Varnish.
This time of COVID doesn't seem to be settling itself. It just feels like everyone in Brooklyn is floating alone in infinite space and we can't seem to find any purchase under our feet. Maybe there's an artist out there who can at least translate what this time feels like into something tangible, into something we can identify.
Gotta get in front of my leg instead of behind it. There, that's good.
Astronauts are cool looking.
Yeah, too.
And I also just really like painting them and using them in pieces because of the different meaning that people can pull from it. And I like the way they look. And
It's so wild how that image becomes this iconic, arcane, unknown figure. Have you yet met a real astronaut?
No, I have not. That would be pretty cool, though. I follow a lot on Instagram.
Oh, wow. Have any of them gotten any of your pieces?
Oh, no.
Oh, man. I can't wait for that to happen.
None of them follow me. I follow them.
Oh.
So.
Is that interest in them? Is that purely, how do I put it?
I mean, I'm very interested in it, that's for sure. Yeah, I think it's like one of the most interesting topics out there.
The space travel and...
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I feel like time is one of those resources that people take for granted. I gotta say, it's nice doing this with the mask on, because normally I have to hold my breath every time because
This stuff is toxic?
Oh, no, it's so light that the tiniest little bit of air will just make it go flying.
Whoa. So that's maybe something you're gonna hold on to even after this is done.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to breathe and gild at the same time.
Oh, the gold leaf is that light.
Yeah, it's so light, like you hold it up and it's just almost transparent. It's crazy, crazy thin.
Where did you study?
I actually dropped out of college.
Wow, so you didn't study art in school?
No, I didn't go for too long.
Mm-hmm.
I only have 9 credits. Not enough to have a major or anything, so
Yeah, oh wow.
studied nothing.
Are you totally self-taught or did you study like an institute or something? Or?
No, but I've been doing art classes and extracurricular art classes like throughout my whole life. I would take art classes and art lessons like outside of school because it was just something I was always into, you know.
Right.
But as far as formal schooling for it, no.
That's still really impressive because like your work is like, I want to say like a little bit photorealist or maybe a lot photorealist. That's a lot to just teach you just to completely learn on your own.
It takes a while. Yeah, I don't think art schools, I don't think art school is necessary to learn skills. You can either learn them or you can't, regardless of who's going to be teaching them to you. I feel like art school is really great for a community, you know, for like getting all artistic friends in the area, for knowing the gallery scene and all that kind of stuff. Like that's a huge leap ahead. So that was the thing that like I was really lacking when I first was starting, you know, that I'd wish like, oh, if I'd gone to art school, then I would kind of have these connections, because a lot of times people don't usually work with you until they meet you. So.
Did street art help with that?
Yeah, definitely. That was like my whole foray into like getting art friends and gallery notices and all that kind of stuff.
How do you guys find each other? Is that
Instagram. I like met all of my New York artist friends through Instagram.
Oh, wow. Okay. I always thought it was just people under fire hydrants or on roofs, like, hey, I'm doing it too, like from across. Wow, I admire that, you know, because it's so edgy and you're like out there and you like throw something up and it's dope and nobody knows how I got there. When you look back on that part of your career, do you miss it? Do you kind of feel like a little bit of it was foolish or a waste of time? How do you feel about that part of your career when you look back on it now?
I definitely don't miss it, that's for sure. Staying up late at night, having to wait till 1 in the morning before I could even go out and start working, that kind of sucks. It's not super fun. And then like, I never had fun while I was out doing it. I only had fun once I got away with it. Like once the night was over and I was, you know, home, then I was like, all right, that was great. But like while I was doing it, I was just like nervous pretty much the whole time.
Wow, so what drew you into it?
What drew me into it was just like moving to New York City and like just discovering the street art. You know, I didn't realize people were putting like actual paintings on the street. You know, I thought it was just graffiti and that kind of stuff, which I wasn't interested in. But then when I found out about like real paintings on there, I got excited because it was a way to finally like get a public opinion on my work, you know, that wasn't just like friends and family, which I liked a lot.
Was there any like I think someone like me, sometimes I'll assume that there's some sort of political subversive meaning alongside the street art.
Yeah, I mean, street art's a great place for political art, to be honest. You know, I did a lot of that and when I was doing the street art stuff too. Because political art is very, you know, it ages very quickly, you know what I mean? So it's good to have that in a more ephemeral environment rather than on a canvas that's gonna last forever.
Right.
Because then the issue you were fighting about or talking about could be, you know, totally over a few years later.
Right, yeah. In that entire time, is the astronaut emerging in that time, or do you already have it?
I had one astronaut piece, but it was very simple. You know, I was doing all real simple work for the street. So yeah, it was very, very basic stencil of an astronaut.
So there's one astronaut there, but is the astronaut already like in your mind? Is he?
No, not at all. I honestly don't even remember why I came. Oh, I do remember actually. I didn't want to paint. Wanting to paint figures, but I didn't want to paint like a person, like a man, you know, because I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
I always felt like a lot of times with figurative work, sometimes it feels like you need to know who the person is to want to own the painting or something, you know? Okay. And I like the idea of the astronaut being anonymous, and so it was kind of like a way to have a figurative work without it actually being someone's face.
That's fascinating. Because it almost makes the painting like abstract in a weird way, even though it can be as realistic as possible. Because you don't know how they feel in there, what they're doing in there, what emotion they're giving off. It's like such a mystery.
Yeah, that's exactly why I like it, because I like that people can draw from it what they want to, and I like that a lot. So I wanted like my artwork to be like, I I wanted to give the same kind of feeling and sense like when you're like listening to like music, you know, like you'll hear like a good song and you're never going, you don't think about what the writer of these lyrics, what these meant to him. You immediately just like equate it to your own life and your own experiences. And I wanted my artwork to be the same way, where the viewer wouldn't necessarily be trying to think of, well, what did the artist mean when he was painting this? But more what it means to them because of what emotions it draws from their own life experiences.
I so get that. That's like a very selfless way to make work, to sort of take yourself out of it, so that the viewer isn't like, oh, this art is amazing. It's like completely remove yourself so they just have that figure and they can deal with their own emotions about it.
Yeah.
And make up their own stories.
Exactly. A lot of the work from the first series of astronauts was more somber and kind of sad because of what I was going through in my life. But at the same time, you could have looked at some of the pieces and thought they were, happy, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I was totally fine with that because I wanted people to be able to pull what they wanted from the pieces, you know.
It's startling to think how much I relate to the image of the astronaut these days. Trying to stay brave and hopeful and productive in a time where time and space are vastly unknowable. I can't shake that feeling, but at least when an artist turns that feeling into a composition, I can observe my own struggle from the outside and understand it a bit better. Great art helps tether us a bit in a moment when it feels like we're all hopelessly adrift.